Welcome back again on Facts Fair. What unfolded just moments ago inside a federal courtroom was not loud. It was not chaotic. And it certainly wasn't the kind of political drama people are used to seeing. There were no shouting matches, no viral sound bites, no explosive confrontations. But make no mistake, it was powerful. Because sometimes the most consequential moments don't announce themselves with noise. They arrive quietly and change everything. A pivotal moment took shape silently, yet its impact rippled instantly through Washington's political atmosphere. The kind of moment that doesn't rely on shouting or spectacle, but instead derives its force from authority, finality, and consequence. Inside that courtroom, something shifted. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but unmistakably. Donald Trump, a figure long associated with aggressive pushback, public defiance, and relentless confrontation, suddenly found himself constrained. Not by political rivals, not by media pressure, but by an institution that had reached the end of its patience. Courtroom observers immediately sensed it. The tone changed, the energy tightened, the air itself felt heavier. The judge paused longer than expected. Seconds stretched. The room fell into complete silence. Trump's legal team appeared uneasy, quietly flipping through documents, exchanging brief whispers, then stopping altogether. The tension wasn't theoretical. It was physical. Everyone in the room understood that something decisive was about to happen. This wasn't routine. This wasn't procedural filler. This was a line being drawn. When the judge finally spoke, there was no raised voice, no dramatic rebuke, no theatrical scolding. The words were calm, deliberate, unmistakably serious. This was a formal judicial warning, the kind delivered only when consequences are no longer hypothetical. The message was crystal clear. Continued disregard for court orders would trigger real penalties. No more warnings, no extended patience, no room for interpretation. And that clarity mattered. What gives this moment historic weight isn't the warning itself, it's who received it. Trump's public career has been defined by pushing limits, challenging institutions, and surviving pressure through sheer force of personality. But inside that courtroom, none of those tools applied. There were no rallies, no crowds, no digital amplification, no applause, no escape. Just the law, a judge, and a boundary that was finally enforced. Observers noted something striking. Trump did not interrupt. He did not smirk. He did not respond with sarcasm or performance. There was no show, no counterattack, no deflection, no familiar escalation. That restraint alone underscored the gravity of the moment. This wasn't political theater. This wasn't a media spectacle. This was the judicial system signaling that tolerance had ended. For perhaps the first time in years, it was evident that volume and confrontation offered no leverage here. And this warning did not come out of nowhere. It followed weeks of escalating conduct, carefully documented by the court. According to filings and statements presented during the hearing, Trump repeatedly tested restrictions tied to public commentary and social media use. Legal experts note that courts move methodically. They observe patterns. They issue clear instructions. They allow time for compliance. That opportunity was given, more than once. Instead, the boundaries were pushed further. Public statements targeting witnesses continued. Claims questioning the legitimacy of the proceedings persisted, often crafted to skirt direct violation while still exerting pressure. Not accidental, not isolated, but cumulative. Each instance was recorded. Each added weight to the court's assessment. During the hearing, prosecutors presented these examples without emotion, no rhetoric, just dates, statements, and documented effects. The judge listened closely, occasionally asking for clarification. The absence of drama only made the moment heavier. Then came the defining moment. The judge addressed Trump directly, stating plainly that court orders are not optional guidelines. They are binding legal directives. Violating them is not protected speech, it is obstruction. That distinction is critical. Legal analysts emphasize why this matters. Contempt of court is one of the rare areas where consequences can move quickly. Financial penalties, restrictions on conduct, even incarceration, no jury, no polling, no political calculus, no negotiation. The authority rests solely with the court. This is where Trump's traditional playbook meets something immovable. In a courtroom, power doesn't come from dominance or loyalty. It comes from compliance. And the judge made one point unmistakably clear. Any future violations would be met with enforcement. Not dialogue, not discussion, not delay, not another warning. And that clarity is what makes this moment so unsettling. Trump has historically escalated under pressure. Silence and restraint have never been part of the formula until now. According to sources familiar with the legal strategy, this restraint was deliberate. Trump's legal team calculated that near total silence was safer than any additional argument, not because they lacked responses, but because every word now carried immediate risk. This was no longer a media battle, no longer a narrative fight. It was real legal exposure. The judge never raised her voice. Authority came from certainty. The boundaries were clear. And for perhaps the first time, Trump appeared to understand that these limits would not be negotiated, postponed, or reinterpreted. They would be enforced. That recognition changes behavior. Previously, judicial warnings were treated as flexible. Delays were exploited. Ambiguity was weaponized. That dynamic no longer applied. The margin for error had vanished. Incarceration was no longer a talking point for commentators. It was a procedural possibility acknowledged in the room. And the atmosphere shifted accordingly. The silence itself sent different messages to different audiences. Supporters felt unsettled. If Trump wasn't fighting publicly, what did he know that they didn't? Opponents perceived momentum, an unusual moment where rhetorical dominance failed against institutional process. And persuadable voters noticed something else entirely: hesitation. Courts are designed to eliminate spectacle. They reduce power to procedure, evidence, and accountability. In that environment, personality offers no advantage. Compliance is the only currency that matters. The true significance of this moment lies not in what was said, but in what was withheld. For a figure defined by constant reaction, restraint signals one thing: the threat is real and immediate. From this point forward, every statement, every post, every public word is filtered through consequence. Courts don't act theatrically. They move methodically, quietly, precisely. And when enforcement arrives, it doesn't need drama. It doesn't need headlines. It just needs proof. This marks a transition from spectacle to procedure, from disruption to structure, from dominance to accountability. Donald Trump is no longer confronting headlines or crowds. He is confronting the law itself. And the message could not be clearer. Consequences do not arrive through speeches. They arrive through enforcement,